Starting the Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. I'm your host, Andrew Zare, and of course, I'm joined by John Bub. How you doing, John?
Hey, Andrew, how's it going?
It is going all right. You know
what today is, though, right?
My favorite day in the world, Friday the 13th. I love Friday the 13th. I love the movies.
Why?
I don't know. It's my.
Oh, you like the movies? Okay.
I'm a fan of the number 13. My birthday's
weird.
on the 13th, May 13th.
I prefer even numbers.
You like even? I'm
an even number kind of guy.
Does it bother you? Or are you one of these people that gets really upset if something is not like an even number?
Not always, but I just prefer even numbers.
You prefer?
And I'm not OCD about it. I just prefer even numbers.
I know what you mean. I like odds. I like to throw a little something in it. We have a lot to talk about, guys. I do want to talk about. A lot of people have been asking about our production setup here. We have a new production machine, John. I don't know if you know this.
Yes,
I don't know.
I do.
I don't know if you're aware of all the issues that we've had with this machine. Tremendous amounts of issues.
That monitor behind you.
What is that?
The monitor behind you.
What about
over
it?
your right shoulder?
What about it?
What'd you do with it? Did you print something out?
No, you know what? I totally forgot to show you guys. A viewer made this and sent it to me. He carved this.
That's carved?
Yeah, this whole thing is carved, and he painted it.
Holy crap!
Isn't that
that's
unbelievable?
awesome.
I know. We just got it. Give him a little shout out. He's one of our regular viewers. I'll call him Joe. I don't know if he wants his last name out there, but on Twitter, he reached out to me, and he said, listen, I made this thing. I carved this thing out for my favorite podcasts, and I'd love to send it to you. He carved this out.
That's amazing.
Look how unbelievable this. I mean, it's unbelievable. Everything is handwritten in. I just got it just now. I was going to give the shout out, and I totally forgot that it was behind me. But how awesome is that? I got to hang it up in the office somewhere now. I gotta take something down to put this up. But this is absolutely beautiful.
Wow,
Joe, this is amazing. Really, really. I wouldn't even know where to begin with something like this. On how I would even make this.
Well, you knowing you probably start with a couple of beers.
Yeah, and then how would it end at the end?
Totally screwed up.
It would be horrendous by the end. So it's actually really awesome. He apparently makes these plaques for his favorite podcasts. He's also a Patreon supporter. He made it for this round. He made it for Windows Weekly, Tech Things, and Us.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so I actually have Mary Jo Foley's and Leo, Mary Jo Foley's and Paul's here. I don't know if Leo got one for Windows Weekly, but I know those I have theirs here, which I have to give to them when I see them next week. So, should be a lot of fun to give them. It's actually amazing. I'm blown away by it. So once again, thank you. This production machine that I built, you would imagine that going to Windows 10 is a lot easier than you would expect, but for whatever reason, on every single one of my machines, it's been flawless, no problems at all, never one hiccup. This is the one thing that I've had issues with, and it single-handedly comes down to AMD's really crappy video card drivers. That's
one reason I never go with AMD.
Yeah, you know what? I never went with AMD video card drivers, and I've always done, I've never gone with AMD video cards. I've always gone with NVIDIA-based video cards. Do you remember the Voodoo 2s? Remember those? The Voodoo cards?
What was that like back when they were ATI?
No. Voodoo was like a different company.
I have no recollection of them.
They were the video. Oh God, there were Voodoo. There was a Voodoo 2, and that was it was 3DFX that made them.
That had been like so long ago.
3DFX Interactive was making them. They were bought by NVIDIA at one point, so 3DFX ended up becoming NVIDIA. But they used to make these the Voodoo graphics series, and these things were awesome. Like everybody wanted a Voodoo 2. So anyway, I've always had NVIDIA, and this was the first time that I didn't go with NVIDIA because the recording software that we use, Wirecast, works a lot better with ATI apparently. Well,
AMD.
AMD. Well, AMD ATI. Apparently, it doesn't work well at all with Windows 10 for me. So now I'm still running Windows 7 on this machine. It's this crazy 6-core i7 machine with everything you could imagine, all the bells and whistles, and I can't put Windows 10 on this thing. I'm stuck in 2009, John.
Well, I'm not going to cry over that.
Yeah. Talking about Windows, I am doing an update on one of these machines here, and this is the message. I'm at this point right now in the update to Threshold 2, the new update that came out today, which we'll go into it, John.
Another 45 minutes before it's done.
Yeah, well, no, it's at the end now, so I'm all finished. Windows.
That's what you think.
That's what I think. Well, you know what? Let's see how long it takes from this point on. We're 5 minutes into it.
There could be things that has to do after that.
Yeah, let's see. So Microsoft released the big update for Windows 10 Threshold 2. This was supposed to be the version of Windows that we got when it shipped, but because it was, the timing and delays, we did not get, all the things that we wanted, all the bug fixes that we wanted. Obviously, there's a ton of bug fixes in this thing, in this version, in this update. But along with that comes a bunch of other little tiny hidden features. One being Find My Device. Another one being Cortana will let you reply to text and more. You could change the color, the graphics of, right now everything is white on top of the windows. And you could change that to whatever color you want. Cast media to devices, automatic time zones. Microsoft Edge sync passwords and favorites. New Skype application. Better app snapping, a bunch of other updates. But a lot of people got this yesterday. John, it's almost like 3.5 gigs. It's a big update.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's about a service pack, right? How big is a service pack update?
If you think about it, when you do install Windows 10, it's basically a 6 gigabyte install.
Yeah.
Which they automatically download to your computer, just in case you want to upgrade, but you really don't want to upgrade. It'll still put it on your computer and download all 6 gigabytes of the install for you, just so that you have it ready there to go. Yeah. Even if you don't want it.
Even if you don't want it, it's still sitting there. It's for you.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
6 gigs. Take it.
Totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
Take up space on my SSD where I have, space is not a premium.
Yeah,
that's what bothers me is the fact that you're gonna automatically download the installation files, which is several gigabytes, and in many cases, people have an SSD where space is a premium, and you're not going to offer a way to stop, block it, or remove it.
Oh, there you go. Windows is ready. It's here.
Yay!
Yay! You know what? This is great because the good positive thing, if you're on Windows 10, this is showing a major initiative by Microsoft to provide you with these bug fixes as urgently as possible. This is the new way of Windows.
I think they could have rolled out a lot of these bugs fixes along the way.
Beyond this, John, what are we at? Redstone, right? Or is it Redmond? What's the next
I don't pay attention to this crap anymore. They've done too many things to piss me off. So I hated Windows 8. I didn't care for Windows 8.1 and Windows 10. They removed Windows Media Center and a whole bunch of other stuff that you know what? I just don't care anymore.
So is it just Media Center for you? Is that where we're at?
It's part of it. It's just the overall workings of Windows 10. It's improved over Windows 8 in my opinion, but there's still. Can you turn that off? That's so annoying.
Oh, John, that's part of Windows. You gotta live with it.
Disconnect it. Turn it off.
Yeah, I gotta turn it off actually. That's actually weird. It's never done that before.
Right.
I think it's getting its feelings is getting hurt.
I want to use Windows 10, but I have so much stuff that doesn't work in Windows 10. So
yeah, and I'm kind of in the same boat. But we're the exceptions here, right? I mean, we're using some software that nobody else is using. We're using hardware that most people are not using. If you're buying a laptop, don't get us wrong here. John has his issues with Windows 10. I have my issues with Windows 10. But if you're buying a laptop or you're looking to upgrade and you don't really require a lot of very specific hardware and software to work, you're perfectly fine. You're probably gonna love it. I actually really like it on my laptop. I really like Windows 10.
But even looking at the best hidden features in Windows 10's major update, why should I care? Cortana will let you reply to text and more. Great. That only works if you have a Windows phone, and all of 12 people have a Windows phone. Don't care about that. Cast a media device. And the number of people that will actually use this is probably about 12 again. Microsoft Edge syncs passwords to favorites. Anybody that uses Microsoft Edge is a moron because Microsoft Edge is still an incomplete browser. Better app snapping. That's all right, but still something they could have rolled out before doing this service pack.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the biggest improvements, there's major performance improvements over the previous version. In everyday tasks such as boot time, now it's 30% faster than Windows 7 on the same device. So it is a faster operating system. Obviously, Cortana, which I don't really care for. Microsoft Edge, like you said, it's being built as
it's an incomplete browser.
Yeah.
It does not have full screen support.
It doesn't
Did you
do
know
WebRTC
that if you
either.
have Microsoft Edge on a desktop computer, that you cannot hit F11 and make it full screen?
Did they fix that? Let's see. I'm curious if they fixed that in the latest one. So you said F11, right?
Yep.
Let's do F11.
I mean, that's the universal key to make anything full screen.
No, not working.
And it's such an easy thing, in my opinion, to implement. Why would you not have that support in your browser? It just seems like a really silly thing not to support.
Yeah, why? You know what? There's sometimes
and everybody's response to that, if they're a Windows fanboy, is, well, it works full screen on the tablets on a Microsoft Surface. Not my point.
So
I'm sorry, I'm really cynical today.
No, I want to hear what else doesn't work for you. This is interesting to me.
But isn't that crazy that you can't do full screen on Microsoft Edge?
Yeah, listen, it's stuff like that that's bizarre, but I'm sure there's some sort of bizarre reason as to why you can't do that.
It still feels like Microsoft Edge is an incomplete browser, that it's still very much an alpha or beta version. I mean, it works. You can load up web pages, but aside from that, there's not really much going for it. There's so many more browsers out there that have a lot more features. Firefox, Chrome. There's derivatives of even those that are out there that are better off than Microsoft Edge.
Yeah, so I'm looking here. Somebody posted in the Microsoft community. How do you enable full screen mode in the Edge browser? This guy goes, you don't. At least for now. It doesn't exist. Individual things like YouTube videos can go full screen, but the entire browser cannot.
Correct.
Yeah. I was surprised to see that there's no WebRTC support in Edge.
But they do have native HLS support.
And they do have native HLS.
Which is the only good thing I can say about Microsoft Edge. Other than that, I don't care about it.
Well, it doesn't have plugins. It doesn't have extensions like we're used to with Chrome. And
No.
I mean, listen, I don't know why anybody
That
wouldn't
stuff
use.
should have been in this update.
Yeah, I don't know anybody, but who uses IE to begin with? You know, who's using Edge? Who's looking at Edge and saying, "Well, I choose this over Chrome, or I choose this over Firefox."
Well,
I'd like to know why you would choose it.
They made a big point about having a new browser, but it's so incomplete. And it seems like they've let it stay incomplete for a very long time.
Curtis B says, Suncast, you got to give Microsoft a chance. Do you know how many years behind their browser has been in the past few years? Give them a chance.
Still behind.
Man. Give them a chance.
You can't load an ad blocker on Microsoft Edge.
Yeah.
I don't know. What am I going to do with it? Why would I use it?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, the update is here, guys.
And why didn't they do some updates for Microsoft Edge in this update?
They did. There's a bunch of Edge updates, actually.
I mean, there's the one update to sync passwords. Whoop de frickin' do.
Yeah, no, there's more updates. If you look at this, I'll read it here. There is offers improved performance and security along with tab preview, which allows you to hover over the tab and get a preview of what those websites look like without leaving the page. Microsoft Edge now syncs to your favorites and reading items across devices, and you could easily get back to the content you're interested in the most. And plus, Cortana will now notify you of the best coupons From your favorite
Oh
retailers like
boy.
Staples, Macy's, Best Buy, and other and when shopping on Microsoft
Oh, that
Edge.
sounds like such a gimmick.
Also, some overall improvements is Mail, Calendar, Photos, Groove, Xbox Store, OneNote, Solitaire, and more. Remember, this update, this is what it should have been when it shipped. This is what this update is. This is the version of Windows that they wanted to ship, and they couldn't due to a bunch of other issues. I just updated on this machine here. I updated actually 3 machines, and it's exactly the same thing. You will not notice anything unless you're doing. There's a bunch of enterprise improvements also on top of that. So we'll see. Listen, I don't dislike it as much as you do. You dislike it for a very specific reason, but I understand why it doesn't work for you.
Because I really genuinely want to like Windows 10, but I have usage issues with it.
You can't run. I remember a couple months ago I saw this, and tell me if we brought this up, but you can't run. There is a way to run it in Windows 10, right? Windows Media Center.
There is. I haven't tried it because I'm just not going to take that risk.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to take that risk because who knows how long down the road before that ends up breaking.
Yeah.
Microsoft will release an update that breaks that.
Yeah. You know what speaks volumes? There is no suitable replacement for Windows Media Center.
I know it's a very small minority of people that have cable cards like myself, and the only suitable program is Windows Media Center. I mean, Silicon Dust, which makes the popular HD Home Run Prime, is coming out with software, but they are taking their sweet time.
Yeah, and there's probably, again, would you want to run first-gen software like that? I mean, Media Center was being developed for a long time, and it's amazing that program, out of all things, and nobody used, by the way, is the best for what you are doing with a cable card. I mean, that's honestly the best thing, right?
That's scary, isn't it? And
yeah.
I know that cable card is one of those things that is kind of going away, but it's such a very useful thing. I mean, the fact that I can have this little box connected to my network and I can watch TV on any compatible device, including my computer.
Well, okay, so
that's great.
Fishup brings up Kodi. You do use Kodi.
Yeah, but it's not a Windows Media Center replacement. It does not do native recording. It does not have a native DVR. It still uses Windows Media Center to do that recording.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do a recording, you can't do it with Plex, and you can't do that with Kodi.
Yeah.
That's really, if you have a cable card and you want to record a TV show, the only option you have is Windows Media Center.
Okay, so here's another dumb question, because I'm fascinated by this, but I'm still new to it. Is there an external DVR that you could buy that could do it?
I'm sure I could get a DVR from the cable company, but there's not one that I could get that would work with this.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, and you know what? When we do What the Tech, there's a humongous population of people that still use this, that watch our show, and they are in the same boat as you.
It's such a great product. People really don't understand what a great product this is for somebody like me that's a nerd that wants to watch TV, live TV on a computer or something that's just not a TV. This is the best way to do it. You plug it into your network, put in the cable card, and you can watch TV, live TV, on any compatible device.
Yeah. Fish Up in our chat room says, there are DVR options, but they're a total pain in the ass to set up. And I could imagine, because setting up Kodi was not the easiest thing for me. So I could imagine how difficult that would be to set up.
But Kodi still relies on having that Windows Media Center connection to record.
Yeah. That's
so you
amazing.
Can't say that Kodi by itself.
But you know what, though? The project is dead, right? The whole media center. Why not open it up to everybody? Why not say, here you go. We're not going to be using this anymore.
No idea.
Yeah.
They don't care.
You don't care. You're stuck, John. You're stuck.
What was that? There was something else that I read recently. I'm trying to see if it was in this article that I read it. And I was just reading something that it just seems like, oh yeah, the cast and media device. So Windows 10 has the ability to use DLNA and Miracast support to stream stuff to compatible devices. And to me, that doesn't seem like a very useful feature. I don't know. I don't think many people will ever use that.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Well, there's
Like,
also
they're fine with developing that, but could care less about Windows Media Center, which there are people actively using. But how
TX
many people actively use the DLNA and Miracast support in Windows 10?
TXAG93 says it's getting coverage. Silicon Dust makes a product called the VDR that works with the home run setup.
Yeah, they're developing software right now for a DVR, but it is not released to the public. There's a small private group of beta testers right now.
Why can't you get in there? You're perfect for
I'm
this.
I'm in the second tier for that beta program.
Okay.
They had a Kickstarter, and depending on how much you paid, you got into a tier of their beta testing program. There was 2 tiers. People that paid $60 ahead of time were in this super exclusive group of beta testers that are able to beta test or alpha test everything.
Yeah.
But then there's people that, like myself, that only paid $30 on the Kickstarter for the smaller group or the larger group of beta testers when it becomes more official.
Interesting.
So basically, I will get the software a month before it's released to the public.
Yeah. You know, you are, and this is interesting because I didn't know this about you until recently. You're like a big TV buff. You really like television. Like you watch a lot of shows, like obscure stuff that I would have never thought was an exist. Like you have all this elaborate setup, and for someone that watches not mainstream television, you know, you have your very specific things that you watch. It really doesn't. There's really no option to do this other than rigging something like what you're doing, you know, setting it up with your cable card and setting it to record and recording it. But where do you record and what do you use? There's not too many options like that. You have all these great things like the Apple TV and the Amazon Fire TV and all these things, but none of them have these capabilities. And I cannot understand why they don't. You know, we spoke about it last week. Time Warner Cable now has a thing with Roku. You can watch Time Warner Cable on Roku, but there's no DVR capabilities.
Cable companies don't want you to record stuff unless it's with their DVR.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, is that they want you to pay that $10, $20 per month for their DVR. But see, that doesn't work for me because
it wouldn't even work
90% of the time, I'm not sitting in front of a TV. I'm not the type of person to go out into a separate room for TV.
You want to watch it on your
sit
computer.
here at my computer and multitask. I'm going to watch TV and do a whole bunch of stuff besides it.
Yeah. Does Xbox have a VDR recorder app? I'm not too sure. There is, you know what though? I mean, how about a TiVo? That's a good question. Would a TiVo work for what you're doing?
I'm pretty sure TiVo does exist, and I'm pretty sure that they do still support cable card. It's still really expensive. They have their Romeo line, and I think they're coming out with something brand new.
There's a new one, yeah.
Recently or very soon. They're going to have some new products. But it's still very expensive because you still have to pay at least $300 for the hardware, and then
Plus
you have to have a subscription with that as well.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know who was doing it? Do you remember? I think it's the Bolt. Is that their new one? The Bolt?
I think that sounds right.
Yeah, the Bolt 500. Record 4 shows at once.
It's a great product.
Yeah.
It's a really cool product. It's just very expensive because you're going to have to spend at least $300 on hardware, and then you're going to pay probably about $30 per month for a subscription for the TiVo service.
Yeah.
Which is something that I'm not willing to do. I don't want to spend $300 on hardware and then another $30 each and every month for a subscription.
Listen, I'm with you on that too. By the way, we were talking about Apple TV. We have an Apple TV app. The guy who developed our Amazon Fire app just brought it over to Apple TV. So if you have an Apple TV, the latest version of Apple TV, search for us. You can find it. I think if you do GFQ Network, it'll come up. It's like Pod. You want to hear something bizarre, John? They wouldn't accept GFQ Network in the store.
Huh.
With our graphics. They're aware that that's ours, and they won't accept it. So he had to like modify the name, put like pod something GFQ Network, and it comes up apparently. So we're on there. If you have it, download it, take a look, let us know how you. I think we do our live streaming is available. We have all our shows archived there. That's all available on the new Apple TV. I'm curious if how many people are going to be watching on that, and if it's something that people are going to download. But we're on there if you have a new Apple TV, which I don't think a lot of people do. Do you think a lot of people went out and bought this thing?
I think they did.
You think they did?
I think a lot of people did.
Interesting. I have not.
They are they're still Apple TV is still a very popular device. And I think the new version that they put out is keeping them as one of the popular devices out there.
Yeah, listen, the old ones, I know almost everybody that I know that has one of these things has one of the old ones. Curtis B in our chat said that he's going to download it and give it a try. He has it in the chat. I know a lot of people that have the old one, they weren't even aware that they can't do the things that the new one has so much more happening. I know someone that just recently bought an Apple TV last week. They went to the store and they bought the old one because it was cheaper.
I was surprised at how many people are actually picking one up.
Do you know?
There are people picking them up.
Yeah.
Even though it's more expensive, people are buying them.
Yeah.
I thought that would be a higher entry to barrier with the higher cost, but it does not seem like that's the case.
It's starting $149, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a cheap device. It's not cheap by any means.
No, and there's tons of alternatives out there. You have the Chromecast and Roku stick and Fire TV stick that are all under $50.
Yeah. Listen, most people, they just want to watch Netflix and chill. That's all they want to do. They just want to Netflix and chill all the time. They don't care about my app. They don't care about, there's no Watch Tech
I don't
News
think they
Weekly.
do.
You think there's a Tech
They
News
just
Weekly
want
and
the
chill?
Netflix on TV.
You think anybody talks about that? Hey, Samantha, why don't you come over? I want to watch John Bubb and chill. Andrew Zarian.
God.
Let's put on Andrew Zarian and John Bubb and chill. It's not a thing that's happening.
Nobody does that.
No.
Why would anybody want to do that?
You know what? There may be some weird fetish out there. Hangouts, guys. I know a lot of people use Google Hangouts. Hangouts video calls are getting a quality boost. Google isn't giving up on this bid to improve Hangouts. What was that, John?
This is something we have a lot of experience with.
Google Hangouts, yeah. Improved Hangouts call quality is coming very, very soon. It was just introduced that a new redesigned web experience is around. On top of the simpler interface, improvement quality across the board. Video chat should not only look better, but it starts faster and stays sharper. That's been a major problem with Google Hangouts. I know, the whole thing about Skype. Skype got a bad stigma from a lot of podcasters and internet broadcasters that have, not so great internet quality. They're not running it on, really good machines or even semi-appropriate machines. They're multitasking 5,000 things, and they go, well, look, Skype sucks. It doesn't work. Well, no, you're using it wrong. It's not that it sucks. Google Hangouts, on the other hand, handles bandwidth a little bit better than Skype because it'll adjust it. It doesn't stay, if your bandwidth is doing bad, it's better at determining what works and what doesn't. But we both know, what do you think of the quality of Hangouts, John?
Can you bring up the screenshot, the promo photo that they have?
I can,
for Hangouts?
actually. I can.
I want to talk about this photo that they have depicting the new Hangouts that they're creating.
Yep, I can pull it up right now.
And I'm a little skeptical about their claims here. The claim is that they're going to improve the quality of Hangouts. But yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm like, there is absolutely nothing genuine about that screenshot.
In what way? You're saying that is not what it's not what it's going to look like.
I highly doubt that you will get quality that good from Hangouts. Not only that, but the majority of people will never have the equipment that they use to produce this screenshot.
Oh,
never. Most
people
do not have a $3,000+ video camera that they're using to do this video. Because you look, this person has a high quality, high end HD video camcorder, much like what you have.
Are you sure?
And
are you sure about that?
Yes. Yeah, look.
So you tell me they're
how many
not
people
on
you know that go on
C910?
Hangouts have lighting and a camera that look that good?
I mean, you look really good right now. If that's what they showed right now, I would say, wow, that looks great.
Well, we're over Skype. We're doing 1080p at 2.5 megabits per second. Is Hangouts really going to match that? Plus, I do have lighting. If I turn off my lighting,
Turn it off.
oh, I can't get the switch. All right, there you go. Now I look like every other person on Hangouts on air.
Yeah.
You know, this
Yeah.
is what everybody's going to see. Does this look good?
It looks horrible.
If you look at that photo, it looks like it was taken with a DSLR because you have that extremely shallow depth of field. Because everything behind her is perfectly blurred and out of focus.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's where it kind of looks a little made up. Look if you see the back, it's really focused in on her. I don't know what camera. The Logitech C920, as far as I know,
even my
cannot
camera
do that.
does not do that, and it's a Logitech HD 920, which is a really good camera, but I cannot even achieve that depth of field with this camera.
I mean, I don't think I could achieve that depth of field on my camera right now. Right? I don't think I
and
could
you
do
have an
that.
expensive camera.
That's a $1,500 camera.
This is why I'm very skeptical about the improvement of quality that they're claiming is coming.
Yeah, listen, these
And
mock-ups...
it'll be great. I definitely want them to improve the quality. I just remain really skeptical because that screenshot that they have looks like it was a photograph taken with the high quality DSLR. I don't buy that as being genuine. I buy that as being a mock-up. You know, it's like every photograph you see of food products. Anytime you see a commercial advertising pizza, it never looks that good.
It never looks that good. No, I've never purchased Domino's and said, "Oh my God, this looks just like the commercial."
Yeah, every Burger King commercial that you see with all their burgers, yeah, they always come out looking just like that.
Yeah. So this is the equivalent. This Google Hangouts image right now for you is the equivalent of a Burger King commercial.
Yes, it's misleading advertising.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a lot of money to achieve something of that caliber.
I mean,
the majority of people are not going to have. At most, they're going to have a Logitech C920 like myself, and even then, you have to have good lighting like I have right now. I have 2 daytime light bulbs on me that are extremely bright and blinding me in order to achieve this look.
Yeah.
People are not going to do that.
TXH93 in our chat says, "John, have it your way." T-Mobile binge-on lets you stream. By the way, before I move on, people are going to slowly start getting this feature, this new Google Hangouts interface over the next couple days, couple weeks. They're slowly rolling it out. A very small group got it now, but over the next couple days, if you use Hangouts, expect to see this.
I'm really curious to see just how well it is, how well improved it is.
Yeah, me too. Me too. T-Mobile binge-on lets you stream video, leave your data untouched. This is a very interesting concept that we're going to start seeing more and more in the coming years, where certain content partners of the ISPs are not, you using those services are not going to impact your bandwidth and your data. T-Mobile, during its Uncarrier X event on Tuesday, unveiled binge-on, a free video streaming program that provides subscribers of certain price tiers access to 480p or better content from select apps including Netflix and HBO. In addition, binge-on T-Mobile is doubling its simple choice subscription tiers, with the entry-level offering moving from 1 gig to 2 gigs. They're raising their tier,
prices for data.
Yeah, 2 gigs.
But they're also doubling it.
2 gigs is now 4. Actually, 4 gigs for $50 a month is not bad at all. The carrier $60 and $70 plans.
Considering that's $15 more expensive than it used to be.
It's how much more expensive?
It used to be like $35
for how much?
For 2 gigs.
For 2 gigs, but now you're getting 4 for $50. Okay. $60 and $70 plans are now jumping to 6 and 8 gigs of data allocation. Allowment. So what do you think of this, that the carriers are doing this? Is this net neutrality? Because I don't see this as being net neutrality
it's
at all.
Borderline. It's right in that gray area of is it or is it not?
I don't think it is.
The way I've heard it explained is that it's not, largely based on the fact that T-Mobile is not charging companies for this.
But they're picking and
if
choosing.
T-Mobile was charging Netflix and HBO to exempt their data, that would fall under net neutrality.
Now,
but because there's no exchange of money between T-Mobile and these companies for free data, it's not a violation of net neutrality.
Okay.
That's the way I've heard it explained.
Okay, and that's a very good explanation, but here's my problem, okay? I don't know. I don't have a list of all the apps. So it says select apps, including Netflix and HBO. Do you have a list of all the apps?
I saw it in a video on Front Page Tech. John Prosser from Front Page Tech did a really nice, awesome video explaining this whole story in the Uncarrier X event, and he had a nice list of all the other companies. But what's really nice about this is that T-Mobile says any company can sign up and do this.
Here we go.
Even though they have limited amount of companies that are participating in this right now, it's not stopping any company whatsoever from saying, "Hey, we want to do this too. We're willing to work with you and do this." So they're not singling anybody out. Anybody can do this. It can expand exponentially from here. They're just a small list of, these are the people that we have starting from today, and it's going to grow.
So here's the list. I have it right now. Crackle, DirecTV, Encore, ESPN, Fox Sports Go, Go90, HBO Go, HBO Now, Hulu, MLB, Movieplex, NBC Sports, Netflix, Showtime, Slingbox, Sling TV Stars, T-Mobile TV, Univision Deportes, Ustream, Vessel, Vivo, and Vudu. Obviously, some of these carriers are not here. But it says, want your favorite video streamings to be added to Binge. You could actually submit it. If you are a streaming service provider, click here and send us an email and we'll get back to you. So anybody could go through this. I don't know what the agreement is with these guys. I don't know if you're giving something up to be part of this service. I don't know much about it beyond that. I don't think anybody knows what these agreements, because there obviously is an agreement in place. There has to be some sort of agreement that, listen, they're fronting the bill on the bandwidth on these things. They're not charging the end user, but what are they getting out of doing this?
Well, T-Mobile has been on a warpath these past couple of years of trying to regain customers, and this is just one of their ways of regaining customers. This was an interesting event because if you actually watched or listened to the event, they talked about this binge-on thing. But what they did not really say, they also mentioned that they were going to double the data limits. So if you had 2 gigabytes, you now have 4 gigabytes. But they did not actually mention that they were raising the prices for these data tiers.
Interesting.
So like unlimited is now more expensive. Basically, all their data packages are now more expensive than they used to be.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're kind of offsetting this.
In a weird way, by $15.
And they did not, and the fact that they really didn't mention this during their event, it's kind of misleading to me.
Huh. Well, here's the thing about this. Do you see other carriers doing this now? Can you see Verizon and AT&T starting to do the same thing?
Yeah, but not everything that T-Mobile does, everybody else does.
No, but
good example of this is Wi-Fi calling. T-Mobile has had Wi-Fi calling for ages and ages and ages before anybody else started doing Wi-Fi calling as well.
AT&T has started doing it now.
Yeah, but T-Mobile has had it for a good several years. My BlackBerry from 2008 supported Wi-Fi calling on T-Mobile.
Yeah. But
Just
Verizon does not.
That was 2008, and I could do Wi-Fi calling.
But do you know why all the other carriers started doing it?
Because the iPhone supports it.
Because the iPhone supports it. Except for Verizon. Verizon will not do it for whatever reason. Verizon is in their own little bubble.
Verizon says they're working on it, but who knows when that's actually going to happen? And they half-assed that by saying, well, you can do that through our messaging app.
You could do it through our messaging app.
I think they really do have to support native Wi-Fi calling on the iPhone.
Wait a minute. What do you mean through their messaging app?
Verizon has an application that you can download, and you can do free Wi-Fi calling through their application.
Yeah, the Messenger Plus app. Yeah, it's their text, which that's what I use actually. It's actually one of the better message. It's a good text solution for SMS.
But it's a very interesting way of saying that they support Wi-Fi calling.
I didn't know that it supports Wi-Fi calling.
They support it, but not natively.
I had no idea that it supports it. That says something, right? Considering I've been using it for a while. Huh. Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I think T-Mobile has a great group of companies already signed on to do this. All the major players, people that are really interested in all this free content, not counting against their data cap. And the only question that I really do have is whether or not people care that the majority of the content is going to be 480p versus 720 or 1080p.
Is that what it says? Because I read it as access to 480p or better.
Yeah, but it doesn't say in what circumstances it will be better.
I guess
I'm assuming that for the most part, it's going to be 480.
Yeah.
And while not many people will necessarily notice that, but there are going to be people such as me and you that would definitely care whether or not it's 720.
Yeah. And I would lose my mind if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Limited to 480. I guess it is. I guess it is limited to 480. I mean, I guess it's a start. You know? All right, John, let's go into another story here. Chrome will stop supporting XP Vista on early OS 10 in April 2016. Good. It's time. It was announced on the official Google Chrome blog. The company noted that starting in April of next year, it'll no longer support browsers on XP, Vista, Mac OS 10.6, 10.7, 10.8. Wow, actually, 10.8 is not that long ago. 10.8, what are we at now? 10.11? Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking 3 years ago. That's actually surprising to see that. What version was 10.8? Can't remember.
Mountain Lion? Oh, no. Snow Leopard.
Yeah. It was a good version, actually. Google has alluded to the discontinuation of support back in April and will continue to do so. They're gonna get rid of XP. But you know what? It's time, guys. It's time for you to upgrade. Go to Windows 10, like John.
I mean,
now, what would your reaction be if they said Windows 7 is getting discontinued? How would you react to that?
That would be a huge mistake for them.
Would you be upset?
If they were,
would you be mad?
There's no way they could do that.
Would you write them a letter?
There's too large of a user base on Windows 7 still.
Yeah. New Android exploit can hack any handset in one shot. You want to talk about this, John?
Yeah, this is very interesting. So hackers discovered a critical exploit in Chrome for Android, which is reportedly capable of compromising virtually every version of Android running the latest version of Chrome. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce this company's name. Qhu, and I'm sure, or Qhu. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. There's a researcher by the name of Gong demonstrated the vulnerability to the PSN2Own panel at the PACSEC conference in Tokyo. And basically, all you have to do is visit a web page in the latest version of Chrome, and because of JavaScript version 8, they're able to gain full administrative access to the victim's phone in one fell swoop. As soon as they enter that page, because of JavaScript version 8, there's a vulnerability in Chrome where it can install just about anything it wants to.
And there's nothing you can do beyond that.
No. And I think I read that they made Google aware of this, and I'm sure they'll have a patch for this soon. So I don't think it's that big of an issue, but it's scary nonetheless.
Yeah, that is scary, actually. The fact that it... I'm amazed on how we haven't gotten more of these major exploits on the phones. I mean, that's the most amazing part to me, that, you know, when you're kind of in your mind, and this is how I see it, and I could be totally wrong here, but when you are using a PC, a desktop, a laptop, in the back of your mind, you're still thinking, well, what is this? What is this email? Oh, that's spam. What is that? What is this? You don't really have that same thought process when you're using your phone.
No, and in this case, it can be done without any user interaction.
You just click on it once and you're good.
As soon as you go to an affected website, this will take over your phone, and you will have absolutely no idea that it did it.
It's you know what? How about all
that's what's so scary about this, is that all you have to do is visit a web page, and without any user interaction, it can install anything it wants.
Well, John, I mean, we've spoken about this for years, but the scariest part of your phone, forget about going to a website and clicking on this thing, right? This is scary enough. But We download apps all day long. People are just clicking on things and trying new things. They get bored, they're sitting downloading apps. We don't know who's developing some of these apps.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to get a little conspiracy theoristy, these find where my car is parked apps are the most terrifying things. Find where my car is parked. Now you're pinging some server. They know exactly where you are, what time, what you're doing, what your habits are. I mean, it's scarier. Listen, regardless, Google knows everything, right? You're carrying your phone. It's pinging GPS all day long. And I get that. But we have to start realizing what we're clicking on these phones. We have to realize what apps we're downloading.
Andrew, you're just paranoid.
Well, you know what? I listen, I download apps all the time, but there are some that's if I don't know the developer, I don't see that they've developed other apps, I don't download it. I don't download all these crazy apps. And people do it all day long. My father-in-law's phone has 5,000 applications for everything you could imagine. 10,000 tracking apps, count my steps. I mean,
well, you know why you have to do that is because you have to find the one that's actually good.
Yeah. So you download like 5, 6 of them, and then you let it sit there. But you don't know who these developers are. You don't know what information is being sent.
No,
you don't know what's in the EULA.
Falls under privacy issues, and that's just the reality that we live in now. Is that there's always going to be these apps that track your every movement, and they do that now even with tracking cookies on your desktop. It doesn't matter if you're downloading an application. If you're browsing a website, there are tracking cookies that'll track every single website that you go to.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
It's a scary time. Listen, guys,
It's a good reason to run some sort of ad block program.
Yeah. Did you, by the way, did you see the story?
Just from the privacy standpoint alone, ad block programs make sense.
Did you see the story about an airport in France being shut down because they were running Windows 3.1 and there was a major glitch in their system?
That sounds made up.
No, it's a real story.
You read that on The Onion?
No, it's on Slashdot.
Jeez.
Microsoft has... I got to find the rest of the story because I clicked on it earlier, but apparently that was...
I don't understand how you could even run that today.
Yeah. It was running Windows 3.1. You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. You go look at some of these places.
Could you even install that on a computer? On like a modern computer, could you install Windows 3.1?
That's a very good question. I would say you can, but it would have to be done in some convoluted way. I don't know.
That just sounds made up to me.
Yeah, no, it's a real story. It's a real story. All right, John.
Hey, there's one more story here that I kind of want to get your opinion on.
Yeah, go ahead.
And there's a politician in New York that wants to give 200 New York City trees email addresses. Upper West Side Councilman Mark Levine plans to give 200 trees in New York City their own email address. His spokesperson says to the Gothamist that the goal here is to deepen public engagement with the trees so that residents can connect more personally with them in that way. People are welcome or encouraged even to report a tree's plight, such as broken branches, blight, and rotting parts by sending it an email.
What?
Are you a tree hugger?
I don't understand this. Is this like is this like the manhole hotline when you see a problem with a tree, you report it?
Yeah, basically they're gonna take a make a sign that they're gonna put either on the tree or next to the tree, and that if you have any concerns about that tree's well-being, you email the tree.
So here's something interesting. New York City, this is what Levine says. New York City is a tough place to be a tree, Levine told us this afternoon. This is the Gothamist. By giving each tree a unique email address, it makes it really easy to report problems. Asked to name his own favorite tree, he said, it's like asking me to pick my favorite child. Levine did not come up with this idea himself. Melbourne did it first. Here's an example of an email that a human might send to a tree. 2 Australians actually did send emails to a tree, and here's what it was. To Golden Elm, tree ID 1037148. May 21st, 2015. I'm so sorry you had to die so soon. It makes me sad when trucks damage your low-hanging branches. Are you as tired of all this construction work as we are? Here's another one. To Oak Tree ID 1070546 on February 11th, 2015. Hey, y'all. Just saying, how do?
Jeez.
You could call me Al. I'm about 350 years old and live in a small farm. Oh, a tree is sending it to another tree in this email. This is insane. What is wrong with these people?
What,
Why?
you don't want to care for trees of New York?
I mean, this is mind-boggling.
We have to take care of the trees in New York. They're such an important part of New York City that we have to have email addresses.
Listen, I agree. You got to take care of the trees, whatever. But to email a tree,
you hate trees. That's what it amounts to. Is you don't like trees. You'd rather chop every tree down in New York City if you had your way.
You know what? I do. I want to cut off all the trees and put just metal poles everywhere. Just one metal rod just sticking out from the earth. Just replace all the trees with metal rods. This is insane. That's a fun story, John. I'm glad you picked that one. Made me laugh. Listen, I'm not a tree, but you can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarin. You can follow John also. John may be a tree. I don't know.
It's possible.
It's possible. At Suncast, you can follow him. At GFQ Network, of course, you can follow us. Hey, if you have the new Apple TV, guys, go and download our app. We're on the Apple TV. Just search for GFQ Network, and we should come up right there. We have our live stream on there. We have all these different things. Guys, if you have an Apple TV, new one, please take a couple of pictures of the app and send it to me on Twitter so I can post it, because I don't have the new Apple TV, and I have not seen what this looks like.
We should have an email address for our apps.
We should. We're going to have an email address for my apps. You could email my computers in the studio, guys. We should have an email address set up for each of these computers, and you could talk to it. You could be like, hey, Skype Machine 3, what was going on the other day? You were flickering. You know what, though? I do have a favorite Skype machine.
You do?
I do. Skype Machine 1 and Skype Machine 4 are my two favorite Skype machines. I have this relation. This is Skype Machine 1. Everybody say hi to Skype Machine 1. Jeez, this is insane.
Is that because 1 and 3 make 13?
Yes, it does. 1 and 3 make 13. Guys, also, if you want to help us out, you want to support the show, you could do so by going to our Patreon page, patreon.com/whatthetech. You can fund us anything you want to fund us, and it helps us out. Also, the holidays are here, boys and girls. Whenever you're buying something on Amazon, do so by using our Amazon link, gfq.co/Amazon. That's gfq.co/Amazon. Bookmark it, and whenever you buy something, we get a tiny little credit from each sale, a couple % here and there. Helps us out. We do upgrades. We do changes. We're getting new equipment. This entire production machine was built because of you guys, because you used my Amazon link. I did it all based on the Amazon credits that I'm getting. So I want to thank you guys for continuing to do that. It's been amazing. And you know what I'm going to do, John? I'm going to get out of here. See you all later. Bye-bye for now.